The new Defence Secretary Liam Fox has been preparing the ground for the Defence and Security Review this autumn. His comments came after news emerged yesterday of two high-profile departures from the MOD, timed to coincide with it. Dr Fox said the government would act ruthlessly and without sentiment in finding savings in the defence budget. Forces News reporter Rosie Laydon has been gauging reaction to his speech.
Defence has been all over the news this weekend with the announcement that the Chief of the Defence Staff, Air Chief Marshal Sir Jock Stirrup, and the senior civil servant at the Ministry of Defence will step down this autumn following the commencement of the Strategic Defence Review. Well, today, Defence Secretary Liam Fox is at Rosie to flesh out his plans for that forthcoming review. The new Defence Secretary announced the departures of his senior military advisor and his civil service counterpart yesterday. When pressed about the wisdom of removing Sir Jock and Sir Bill before the SDR had run its course, he insisted the change in personnel was incidental.
I think the important thing to understand here is that this is a strategic defence and security review that is under the auspices of the National Security Council. This is the government's defence review. This is not an internal review either by the civil service or the military. Therefore, it's the government in charge of the review, in short answer to your question.
Liam Fox said that the new government was determined to make long-term decisions rather than follow what he described as Labour's salami-slicing approach.
There will be winners and losers, make no mistake about it. But I want to ensure that what we have at the end is a defence policy that Britain can look forward to with some security and certainty in the years ahead.
The question marks over costly aircraft carriers and fast jets are well known, but the desire to draw a line under Cold War programmes may also see the axe fall over units currently based in Germany.
I would say tanks and guns. We could be down to under 100 main battle tanks effective, big tube artillery, medium and heavy field artillery, howitzers, that kind of thing, all stored, all trained within Germany. That goes out of the window.
Despite stating that Afghanistan was the government's top priority, there were hints that the new administration was focusing on an earlier exit strategy, with talks of a time when Afghanistan would be stable enough for British forces to draw down.
We are committed to seeing the mission through to resolution, creating a stable enough Afghanistan to allow the Afghan people to manage their own internal and external security.
Dr Fox also confirmed to the conference he was seeking 10-year budget plans from the Treasury, which will provide reassurance he's serious about looking for long-term solutions to the funding crisis. Well, joining me now is Professor Michael Clark, the Director of Rosie. Professor Clark, do you think that this announcement that CDS and the Permanent Secretary of the MOD are to change in the autumn are really the first two casualties of this new Strategic Defence and Security Review?
Well, I think changes at the top of the MOD reflect the fact that a strong-minded Secretary of State knows that he has to have people around him who agree with his vision of how defence should go. And it's not entirely clear what the Minister's own vision is yet. He said that we have to act ruthlessly and without sentiment. He said that this is going to be a major review which will sweep away all the Cold War legacies. Now, we don't know quite what that will mean in terms of defence systems yet.
He said that everything is on the table, including troop numbers. Is that possible when we've got such a heavy commitment to Afghanistan at the moment?
Well, what the Minister is saying is that the commitment to Afghanistan is absolute, so I don't think we could expect any reductions in troop numbers immediately, but in the longer term it's entirely plausible that troop numbers might have to reduce. And if you look at the expense of people, we have to cut down on the number of personnel. The pay and pensions simply stretch the budget very far. And so if the Air Force and the Navy are to remain credible forces, it probably means that in the long run we have to have fewer people in the Army.
The Defence Secretary there obviously not giving any definite commitment to what may go in the review, but do you have any predictions as to what big projects may be targeted?
In a way, what he's lining us up for is some cuts probably in some of the big programmes that are already underway, say for the new light tank or the future of the aircraft carriers or the Joint Strike Fighter or so many Typhoon fighters that we're already ordering. Somewhere or other, some of these big Cold War legacy programmes almost certainly will be cut right back or may go completely.